What's up, everybody? Celtic Scare here, back from our video to get those 10s and 20 views. As my computer does some weird stuff in the background, I am rocking my Pittsburgh Penguins sweatshirt, which means I get to start kind of fading in and out because, yellow is so close to green. It's like, I don't know how I'm not just invisible with this sweatshirt. But today I have a very special reaction by the Fat Electrician. I don't think he's that big, but it's a catchy name. He is a legit electrician. He's also a vet. And we are going to be reacting to the USS Barb, the sub that sank a train. That's right, a sub that sank a train. But before we do that, let me throw my nice fancy handy dandy headphones so I can actually hear what's actually going on in my video. We're going to first see how Mr. Perna is doing.
Got that 5-spot locked.
If you don't know who he is a Broncos fan, so you can feel bad for him as the screen just goes white because some reason my computers don't want to stay on work. But yeah, good channel, Broncos fan. So if you are a Broncos fan, go check out that good sports show. He does the GPS and clickbait with Tom Nagroski. Ooh, we got a potential fight in the Eagles Giants game that's on my TV. Panthers did win. I'm kind of upset about them for that because better draft pick. Ooh, that is a late-ish, not super late, but not super vicious hit on.
Today we're talking about the USS Barb, commissioned in 1942.
Shut up, Mr. Electrician. I haven't set you up yet. But yeah, but now over to the one, the only, the Fat Electrician. Let's see what you know about history. That kind of sees what his channel seems to be about. It's more of the weird, obscure history stuff, which is really cool. Let's check it out.
Today we're talking about the USS Barb. Commissioned in 1942, it is a Gato-class diesel-electric-powered submarine. Serving in a total of 12 war patrols, it is credited with the sinking of 17 enemy ships.
Well done, well done.
Amongst those ships was a frigate, a cruiser, and an entire aircraft carrier. And if
Okay, that's pretty badass.
you don't know what any of that means, they're really big ships. Big ships means a big deal. Science. Here's the thing though, that 17, that's just the actual enemy navy that it sunk. If you want to see the actual damage they did, we have to check out their battle flag. With the exception of a couple ribbons up top, every patch on this flag represents a different enemy objective that the USS Barb deleted.
That is impressive.
For example, each one of these ones represents a different enemy merchant ship, and each one of these represents 7 smaller enemy merchant ships. Look, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the USS Barb fucked up more enemy infrastructure than Godzilla. Don't
Not a bad analogy. Well done with the humor.
take my word for it, though. Even the enemy's own records indicated that the USS Barb was credited with sinking the most tonnage of their ships. Tonnage! Do you have any idea how bad you have to be getting your ass beat to start keeping track of it by the ton? And all this happened before it got out of hand. Cue
Before it got out of hand?
this man, Eugene Lucky Flucky. He was the commander of the USS Barb in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th War Patrol. What's important to understand is a commander of a submarine at this point in time was only allowed to serve in a maximum of 4 war patrols, because the Navy believed that any more than that, they would either become too cautious or too reckless.
Valid point, but at the same time, results don't lie.
So on the USS Barb's 11th War Patrol, which was also Flucky's 4th and presumably his last war patrol, the USS Barb and her crew, under the command of Lucky Flucky, decided, fuck it, we're just gonna revolutionize warfare for fun. You see, up until this
Oh, God.
point, submarines really just lied and waited for an enemy boat to sail by, and then they'd sink it with a torpedo. Flucky, though, decided that on his last...
Did the Giants just go for a fake kick, or did they just butcher a snap? Oh, I know Scooter's not happy. Oh, there is a plausibility of, by the time you watch this duel right now, the seedings where if like the Eagles lose, Niners lose, and the Cowboys win, they could be number one. But you'll know everything by then that time.
War Patrol, he was going to go out on the offensive. And to do this, Flucky decided that they would utilize a new strategy that he liked to call maximum harassment, which
Sounds like Feel My Axis.
is just a fancy way of saying hold my periscope because shit's about to get real. They literally started driving through the enemy. And on January 28th, 1945, they would sail the USS Barb through a shallow minefield into an enemy harbor with 30 enemy ships in it. Firing a total of 8 torpedoes at the enemy ships, he would break the record for the most enemy tonnage sunk in a day. They would then
You see why they said they might get a little too reckless out there, sir?
and turn around and escape completely unharmed. This was considered to be the most successful submarine raid of all time at this point. And if you don't know, submarining is called the silent service because they do not talk about what they do. This was so impressive that it became headline news. For this, Flucky was awarded the Medal of Honor, which brings a perfect close to an epic career of commanding submarines. Right? Not.
That would be, but this is only 2 minutes into a 5-minute video.
Lucky Flucky would then request to be able to have a 5th war patrol with the USS Barb. A request that they granted him despite their fears that he would become either too conservative or too reckless.
How could he get any more reckless?
Once they granted him this 5th patrol, he immediately requested that the USS Barb be fitted with rocket launchers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy.
Gotta set a tone. Which Uncle Sam actually agreed to because fucking America, making the USS Barb the first submarine to ever be equipped with rockets and to have the capability of attacking a target on land. The harassment just got more maximum. So under the command of Lucky Flucky, the USS Barb would go out on its 12th and final war patrol. They would utilize their new rocket launchers to do shore bombardments, much like larger warships. They destroyed multiple enemy factories and other objectives, becoming the first submarine in history to destroy enemy objectives on land, paving the way for what is now modern-day submarine warfare.
Kind of a badass.
Medal of Honor revolutionized submarine warfare twice. Still not enough, though. Back to the battle flag. Okay, I told you.
It's the thing right here. This is the entertaining one. And probably what he's about to get to.
Each one of these patches means it sunk something, right? Did anybody notice there's a fucking train on it? July 23rd, 1945. The USS Barb and her crew decide that spawn killing supply ships as they leave the harbor was for casuals. They're gonna put a stop
Spawn killing.
to this.
Tell he's a nerd.
In the loading screen. They're gonna play a little game of fluck around and find out with the train before it can even drop off its cargo to the ships. But there's a catch. Getting close enough to use the rocket launchers will almost certainly get them caught. So they hatch a plan that they're gonna send a small group of men ashore on a little raft. These men would then booby trap the train tracks with a 55-pound scuttling charge, blowing up the train. And if you don't know, a scuttling charge is an explosive that a ship has on it in case it needs to sink itself to prevent it from falling into enemy hands.
So basically, you're not getting my stuff. I'm taking it. I'm going down with the ship mentality. But now for offense.
Very big boom. But there's a problem with that. To detonate it, they can't use a timer because the timing of the train is unpredictable. And they're not willing to leave a man behind to set it off manually. So they seek the help of the man that I can only assume is the most beautiful, slightly alcoholic, broom-fearing man on the USS Barb, the electrician. He's able to cook up a homemade pressure switch that they can put underneath the railroad tie so when the train drives by, it'll put enough pressure that it'll detonate the scuttling charge.
Yeah, probably. I'm going redneck. That sounds like a redneck. They can MacGyver anything, especially if they're trained in any way, shape, or form.
So the small team goes out, makes it to land, sets the charge, becoming the first and only Americans to actually officially invade the main islands of Japan during World War II. They then get back in the raft and head back to the USS Barb, and the train comes by.
Wow.
Men reported that the engine of that train went 200 feet in the air, marking the first and only flight test of a freight train.
200 feet. I don't know what that is. Let's hold on. We got to do math because, we're bad Americans and we can't do anything normal. Let's see. 200. That's over a half of a football field, 66 yards. So Justin Tucker could kick, pretty much Justin Tucker kick, long distance kick.
train. Thomas the train engine would then find out that gravity's a motherfucker, get bitch slapped with the planet before tumbling into the ocean, officially giving the USS Barb bragging rights of being the only naval vessel to sink a freight train. But the best bragging right of all is the fact that under the command of Eugene Lucky Flucky, not a single sailor was killed or seriously injured under his command during his time on the USS.
Destroying the enemies and bringing boys home. That's what it should be.
USS Barb. The USS Barb would then be given to the Italian Navy where it served until 1972. It was then sold for scrap for a price of $100,000. Because shitty decisions. Speaking of shitty decisions, there's a bunch of other websites that are now stealing my shirt designs, but if you actually want to support me, the only place you can get my shirts is from my merch store at thefatelectrician.com or from Bunker Branding. Anyone else is just trying to steal my shit. The highly requested USS Texas design and the most requested fur musket design go live on April 1st. That is all. Quack bang out.
I actually like that Quack t-shirt. I might the Quack bang. I may have to pick myself up that shirt. But yeah, military-ish video. Funny way of doing military videos. It's educational. It's a way to learn. Pot commercials are starting to get way out of controls on my computer, which is crazy because it might be shocking, but I'm actually pretty one of those straight edge people. I don't drink, I don't smoke, but there we had the fat electrician with the USS Barb and how they sink a train. The fact that that ship sub after sinking the train just didn't go straight to like a museum. Baffling. But that's it. That's all. Next week I am doing a If I Ruled Over video, and it's going to be the WWE. A few things of mine. Just coming off the fact that apparently Vince McMahon, they might be selling the company. So perfect time to do a If I Ruled Over. That's it. That's all I got. I'll see you weird people later.